Fanboy Modeling School. Modeling School. I am the Fat Mantis, now in HD, and I am here with my partner in crime,
Steve, real name, no gimmicks, also in HD, high def fidelity, brought to you from the deepest rains of China. That's right, folks. They finally came. This is all a set. They came through that door over there. They finally got me. You're talking to a bot.
The jig is up. The jig is up. Fanboy Modeling School has sold out to our Chinese overlords.
Yes.
I'd suggest the same, guys. If you want to keep working, all hail President Zay, or whatever they call him. I'm sorry, I can't keep this up. We are as American as apple pie. I am the Fat Mantis. He is Steve, real name, no gimmicks. We are here courtesy of Riz Radio. You can catch us every weekday night on Riz Radio for recaps of this program, or for everyone who's lucky enough to catch us live. God bless you. Remember to like, share, subscribe, do all the wonderful internet things. My friend, I need to ask you, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. You know, we took a little break for what was it? Memorial Day, right? Did you enjoy your weekend?
We took many breaks.
Many breaks. Well, no, it's actually not that many, right? So, you know, you had a trip to Canada or someplace like that,
right?
And then, you know, I was, you know, just sitting at home being a fat old man. But
yes, I really. Oh, and there's Rogue Radio. She says, "My brothers, what up?"
But it's good to be back in the saddle, man. You know, as you said, brought to you by Riz Radio. I don't know if you caught the last two shows, but I had to bring back a couple of interviews that never really got any play on the Hold Up TV official. So those were, first of all, screw you. I forgot to start the show with this. Screw you. Yeah, you. Not the audience. Yeah, you.
What's happening?
You told me about some program that allows me to make clips, 5-minute segments if I need to. I went down a deep, dark rabbit hole with AI that night, just trying to get audio clips, man. And it was so horrible. You weren't answering your phone. I was cursing your name. I named the bot, and then I cursed it out.
So that is one of the best things about AI. When you get real frustrated, there is somebody right there to take it from you. You don't believe how many times I said, I am going to pay your creators to put you in a robot body just so I can beat you to death. I've said this to my chat.
What has the bot said to you? It's like, you couldn't beat me.
It's constantly being a beta and not standing up to me and being like, I'm so sorry, sir. I'm so sorry. I couldn't get you all the capitals of all those, you know, places in the Middle East. And I'm like, you idiot, incompetent fool. I pay for you. This is something I pay for. You think I like watching you fail me? And so I flip out. It's so relaxing. So relaxing. That's my statement. It's relaxing.
Again, remember what Mantis's official stance on clones are. So this shouldn't be that far off to see him abusing some poor AI that will be his overlord.
I don't believe in slavery. But before we get in trouble,
yeah.
Let me ask, did you ever get the audio clips?
I did get the audio clips. Finally, I got the whole thing working, but turns out I didn't need AI to do it. I just had to go to Audacity, and Audacity has it built right in.
Right. I will say, and I know you're speaking of Opus clips. Opus clips is not the most intuitive program ever. I've had a lot of issues. Yeah.
It's argues with you too at the same time. What up, Shaolin Ice Boxer, Bex, Rico? What's up, family? How's everyone doing tonight? Hey, make sure you hit that like button, man.
Oh, look what we have here. We got Dream Duck. What up? Welcome over on Twitch. Dream Duck, it has been a while, but of course, I'm a big fan of your theatrics, and I've been paying attention to all your shows. Congratulations on your graduation. So God bless you, Dream Duck.
Hey, congratulations, Dream Duck.
I love it when someone who hasn't come in a while ends up here. Rico, what up, brother? Always brings warm feelings to my heart. We got DT Dub. Speaking of which, of course, we've got the Pink Princess over here.
Yeah. All right, I got a little Marvel trivia for you.
Okay, let's start it off that way.
All right. Who is Sun God? You know who that is?
In Marvel?
Yes.
I would assume it's Hyperion. It's like another word for her nickname.
Right. Sun God is Hyperion from the Great Society, Superman's analog, right?
Right.
And
he's the real. Everyone always says, like, oh, Sentry's like Superman. He may be dressed like Superman, but Hyperion is actually meant to be a lift of the character. And
this particular character, well, Hyperion from Hickman and Sun God, they might actually be Superman. I was looking at some scaling in regards to what he was able to accomplish. Now, remember, Sentry fought Hulk, World War Hulk, and still, right? So that's pretty crazy. Sun God knocked the Hulk out, not World War Hulk, right? So we're just looking at the scaling on this, right? Clean knocked them out, bro. It's crazy time to be alive, folks. The reason I started with some Marvel trivia for my friend is because we got some zany topics for you tonight. Ironheart has a trailer out, has 8.8 million views. Not one good comment.
You know, this is going to be part of our larger conversation. What's going on with that series?
Right.
Why it might not be as successful as we hoped, and others.
Who hoped? Did I miss the episode where we were hoping for Ironheart?
So I am very strongly against Ironheart. However, I hope, here's what it is. I hope and pray that every Marvel outing is a good one.
Yeah, it's good.
That's why I always give the first episode of everything.
Good for you, man.
But I guess we'll get into that.
Right. Also, other things going on. I'm just tallying up doing Entertainment Tonight style. The Last of Us season 2 imploding on itself. Everyone's turning on it. Your usual suspects. We don't talk about that. I did want to throw that as an honorable mention. The memes are plentiful. They are attacking that young lady. It's horrible that they're making fun of jokes like that.
So have you been keeping up? Now, I stopped watching after the bad rendition of the video game,
right?
Death. But have you been keeping up with like the plots or the things going on?
Nope.
I completely understand why anyone still watching would be so angry with the show, considering there's one where like her girlfriend gets pregnant, and then there's a part where she sees the test, the pregnancy test, and she goes, "I'm gonna be a dad. And she's going on about, she's having the reaction that a male would have if his girlfriend or wife got knocked up, but they instead decided to do it between two lesbians. And so I don't need to discuss biology with our viewers. I feel they understand that already, but I understand why that is causing the internet to troll it to death.
That wasn't even in their love story in the game. Like, that's not a thing that happened.
They did it, and it's like, why? It's like they hate their show and they want it destroyed or something.
Yeah, they're like, Pedro's contract is up. What can we do to get this thing off the air as quickly as possible? Yeah, I don't know what to do with that, man. I watched Transformers, the animal one, for the umpteenth billion time. I told you that my son watches it in segments, so I finally saw the beginning of the movie.
You finally understand what's going on.
Yeah, and I gotta be honest, it's probably the best of all the Transformers I've ever seen.
Of the live action, yes, I would agree that is like the best, but still, that's not saying much. Like I'm saying, like it's like saying the Iron Maiden is the best of the medieval torturers.
Yeah, that's how they did my man dirty in the 5 deadly venoms. Remember, homeboy, that had like the toad style, which I don't. By the way, I don't know how that translated to him being impervious. I've kicked plenty of. I mean, no, I haven't. Wait, you almost got me that time, you bastard. You almost got me. Yeah, I watched it, man, and whew, probably the best. But I brought that up to say this, right? Before we get there, do you have any honorable mentions, my brother? Anything sad and heavy on your heart in regards to entertainment?
I was gonna say, other than the void that is my life.
Oh, it's a nice shirt though.
Oh, thank you.
I like it. It's very nice.
My shirts are doing good. My workout is doing good.
Good.
Social life, not so much. We are about to hit hot boy summer. It's gonna be a hot boy summer, so I got some shirts.
Hot boy summer.
And we're gonna do this. But other than that, I don't really. I just have some major things to say about some major stories.
Well, let's get right into it, man. What's your first major story?
Do we want to start light or do we want to start heavy?
Let's go heavy.
Well, then you're gonna have to be taking the floor, my friend, because
all right. So we got a bunch of black people in here, and we're gonna have to talk about something that's absolutely tearing the internet apart.
This cannot be avoided, people. This cannot be avoided.
Can't be avoided. Our first episode back, and we had to talk about something heavy. Is everyone in here aware of a trend on IG called black fatigue? I'm gonna give the chat a second and Mantis to cue up the video. Is everyone Bex, black fatigue? You heard of it? Berlin, black fatigue. Shaolin, Rico. We don't know your race, but I suspect you're black. Black fatigue. Anyone heard of it? So black fatigue, I've heard 2 different definitions, right? It's the fatigue that black people are experiencing from various goings on in the world today: systematic racism, oppression, wage gouging, the entire thing, everything that's wrong with the world. And then the other thing is that some people are saying that people are fatigued of black people. And as they put it, are many woes and worries that we are, bring to the table in the world. Beck says yes.
Shaolin says he's never heard of it. Now, the funniest thing is the reason why we had to talk about this is this was gonna be a topic for another episode, right?
Right.
And I remember when you pitched it to me, I said, "Black fatigue. What are black people fatigued about?" And you said everything. And themselves. I said, what? This is wild. This is wild.
So we got
this is the world we live in, right?
Yeah, we got Gothics, not friend to the show, but we wish she was. Gothics, shout out to Gothics, man. She started off just another conservative, pundit, someone espousing right-leaning ideology. And there's nothing wrong with that. And then she found the truth, which is God, and has shifted drastically in her content. But every once in a while she wades in these dirty waters and brings us some of that.
How is she not a friend of the show?
Because we don't know her, man. No.
Oh, right. Well, I usually throw that term around, just like everyone's friend of the show.
Friends. Me and you were friends.
Like Bill Clinton, friend of the show.
And before anyone looks up Gothic's past, yes, she is a black woman. Some people say she's Latin. What is it? Blacktino.
Latino, yes.
Yeah. I can't confirm or deny that. But let's hear what she's got to say.
That's an attempt to de-emphasize her blackness.
It is.
Take her voice away.
It's a
channel. If this is your first time here, this is where I post my random ramblings about things that are annoying me in the world. Sometimes it's political, sometimes it's cultural, oftentimes it's spiritual. I just do a variety of different types of content. But for context, I used to be a brainwashed leftist who hated God, and now here I am talking to all of you. So today I wanted to talk about a new medical phenomenon that has apparently taken America by storm. And I'm a little concerned, okay, because I'm not sure. I think there's a vaccine for it. I'm not sure, maybe, perhaps, but there's an epidemic that's going around right now. And I wanted to talk about it and maybe give you guys my perspective on this phenomenon. And you may have heard of it. It's called black fatigue. When I first heard this term, I laughed. It is so obvious that people are trying to describe something that they can't actually put into words. And so they go with black fatigue. And yeah, I just wanted to talk about it and give you my 2 cents.
I mean, on a comedy side, black fatigue does sound like something that's killed a bunch of Europeans back in like early 1600 time. It was 1620 when the black fatigue.
The black fatigue happened. It was struck by miners who worked down in the mines. Yeah, it killed 1/3 of our colony. So here's what it is. I think that this is total conspiracy theory. I've got no evidence on this. I believe these sorts of things are derived. Like there's a group of marketers and comedians in a room somewhere at the center of the earth. And they're like, what's the next ridiculous thing we can come up with? And pretend that it's a normal, naturally occurring phenomenon amongst the people. Yes. And then they just insert it into Twitter as if it's always been there.
No, you missed the part. They put their hand through a talking chimpanzee's rectum, and out of its mouth comes the very thing that they're proposing, right?
And they're like, oh. The monkey is the one who comes up with it. They just jot it down.
This is the same team that brought you racist Roseanne, by the way. They were down in the basement. They're like, what can we do? What can we do next?
Yeah, no, this is...
But yeah,
I actually think Gothic's initial change from leftist to rightist was created by them.
Oh, you do?
Oh yeah, big time.
Oh, so wait, do you think they well, let me ask you a question. Is that just a political shift, would you call it, or would you say it was a conversion? This is something.
So it would appear. So she professes Jesus to be her Lord.
This was later. She professed Jesus later. She came to the right first. So was she converted?
Oh, did she? I thought it was the other way around. So here's what it is. I do think that she's honest. I don't think it's clickbait. I don't think that. Plus, she did it before it was cool to become a conservative pundit on the internet. So I think it was an honest shift. But I think I bet you anything that Jesus was already tugging on her mind.
It's, you know what? That's a good way of looking at it, man. Now, that's not to say that being conservative is synonymous with being in good with Jesus, right? Because we know a bunch of conservatives that are going to the place where teeth gnash and souls are wailing. Right?
People of all colors, all ilks, all jobs, all political ideas will find themselves burning in hell at the end of time. Straight up. Not all of them, but I'm saying out of every group. No group is safe from sin.
When you said that, you know what image popped in my head, but it's you. There's a brief scene in 300 when they say it looks like they're thirsty. Well, let's give them something to drink. And you see Leonidas just swiping people off of a mountain cliff. Like I envision you at the top of the pearly gates, kicking your ops back down the hell.
So, I don't want to get super political, even though like most of our stories are political tonight.
This is a political story.
Yes, but I would totally say that I believe that once Jesus tugs on your heart, there is. I don't think that you could vote a certain way, if you know what I mean.
You know what? I once said that on here, and you gave me the worst look, and then I had a conviction of the soul because I could see how it happens where people are like, they make a misstep or they vote a certain way because they think, people get confused. People get confused about things.
Actually, you know what? You are totally right. I'm being self-righteous right now.
No, you're not being self-righteous. Stand on business, because I'm going to save you from what you're about to say. What happens is, folks, even as Christians, as redeemed and renewed creatures, sometimes the world takes a hold and fear creeps in, and you find yourself voting for a woman that can't stop laughing when she's being pressed about her political career. Things happen.
Because here's what it is. My statement didn't factor in something that happened to me, and this is what I'm always telling other Christians. It takes time.
Yeah.
So here's what it is. It's like dating the wrong person. Sometimes you're dating the wrong person. You don't, as soon as you realize that, you don't immediately break up with them. You stay with them. But as you stay with them, you're like, there's something wrong here. There's something wrong. There's that, until finally you stand up and you're like, this isn't working. We need to be separate.
Yeah,
right?
the flesh
Yeah.
is weak.
And
Sin is
for the longest, I was a Christian. I do believe that I was saved. I do believe, I served Jesus all right. However, there were certain things in my life I wasn't ready to part with. Certain philosophies, certain behaviors, and I had to grow in my Christianity to realize I'm like, no, I need to cut this out.
Amen. Amen to that, man. And how does that correlate with black fatigue? Well, this is one of those things where I got to say this 100% and be honest, man. Having a biblical worldview allows me to navigate these waters that we find ourselves in all the time. Old Steve would have heard a term like black fatigue, right? And, I'm not one of these fake internet militants, those people who never marched on anything a day in their life. Like some of this stuff like really offends me deeply down in my core. But then I remember, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I can't let my race be my idol. Let me look at this objectively. What does it mean? Who's it coming from? Who stands to benefit from it? Is it the mole people rubbing their hand around in the ape again, trying to get a rise out of me? All things that I got to think about before I jump out the window. And I know you guys missed that, Steve. Drunk Steve on here just spouting truth under a cup of wine. But no more of that.
Oh, yeah. I miss the Steve that used to always try to fist fight me. Over the slightest thing.
your recollection of the past is flawed.
You're romanticizing drunk Steve.
Let's get back to what this black Latino's talking about.
Look, Rogue Radio says the mole people from the inner earth rule the world.
They do. They killed the lizard people. They literally killed them all, dragged them down there, and they're like, "You're done. You're done."
Oh, thank you for the love, Dubs. Let's see.
Popcorn.
Because I think this term is an oversimplification, but I'm getting too far ahead of myself. Let me just elaborate on what this is to begin with. Okay. So black fatigue is the exhaustion that people are feeling dealing with certain types of black folks. And so the exhaustion, I think, is stemming from the last couple of years with all of the super woke black leftist rhetoric that we've been hearing. Everything from we want reparations, systemic racism, institutionalized racism, white supremacy, white privilege, all of the jargon that you tend to expect from black leftists, where they're complaining about something and putting all of the blame on everything that's external and never anything having to do with the decisions that they make. It's always their fault.
Yeah. So what's funny is I was going to say something very similar, and so all the things that she was listing, I've been tired of.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't blame blacks.
No,
I blame white liberals who create these problems.
No matter how it goes, the white person's getting blamed tonight, folks. That's what's going to happen.
Yes, come to the stream. It's going to be a white liberal who's getting blamed for it all, but they are definitely responsible for this one. It's exactly like the whole ID thing, and I'm a huge hater of the ID argument made by the left, right? And they're saying that black folk can't get driver's license or ID, so it should be outlawed to ask for ID when you go to vote.
Wait, so I've never, believe it or not, I've never waded into those waters because I didn't understand what was going on. So I'm just going to take a shot at it now. Was the claim by black folks, and was this claim even made by black folks, or was it like CNN pundits and stuff like that?
It was CNN pundits.
They were somehow inhibiting black people from getting IDs, or that we should be able to vote without IDs?
What they said is that it's hard for black folk to get IDs. They don't know where the DMV is. Not all of them drive. Therefore, they can't get ID, and therefore it would be racist to have voter ID laws where you have to show ID to vote. And what I love is that if you check the internet, there are these countless man on the street things. We've got guys going through Harlem
Yeah.
And it's like some white guy being like, "Excuse me, do you know where the DMV is?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's right over there. What's wrong?" And they're like, "Do you find it hard to get ID?" And they're like, "What are you talking about?" And they're like, "State ID. Do you find it hard?" And it show the absurdity of this, because what they don't realize is you need at least state ID to do pretty much everything. You need state ID to simply have a job. To work at Wendy's, you need state ID.
Yeah,
The idea that black people can't get ID is the most ridiculous idea ever. Did black people come up with this? No, they did not. I vouch for all my brothers and sisters. It was clearly white liberals.
So wait, is that what this really was about? Like, I thought it was about a rezoning districts, making it more difficult for black folks to get to voter registration booths or rezone. Like there was a barrier that was being put up. Why am I using my hands so much?
No, I understand what you're saying. I understand they're redistributing the map and stuff like that. That's not what the voter ID thing I was on. That's what you're talking about is gerrymandering. And they don't fight that as much. It's interesting. Actually, you know what it is? Because statistically, both sides use that to their advantage.
Right. Okay.
You know, both sides. Democrats definitely use it for their advantage, and Republicans definitely are like, they're like, let's kick the blackies out of our district or whatever. So it's definitely used on both evil sides, that tactic. But the tactic they're talking about for voter ID is the belief that black folk cannot get ID or don't know or are incompetent enough to have valid ID.
All right. So Beck says, Lord, they changed the definition. Bex is saying that there's a different definition, which I recognize, and the floor acknowledges what Beck says, that there is in fact another definition or another way this term is viewed, which is black people being fatigued from everything coming at them in life.
Oh.
So there's been a reappropriation of the
that actually that works too.
That dog hunts.
Yeah, no, it does. Because the blacks are fatigued of all the bullshit that goes on. The cops stopping you on your way to work.
Exactly.
You know, like you always being a suspicious character. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, why do you say that to me? I'm not a suspicious character. You're the suspicious character.
I'm the suspicious character because I'm tall and bald and hard to miss.
Yeah, that's true, man.
Because I'm usually the distraction. Like, send Mantis first.
Yeah, I've called the cops on you multiple times and they've arrested you every time.
Explains it. Freaking explains it.
I'm like, I have no idea what he's doing right now, but I'm pretty sure he's walking. So if you get him, you get him now.
But I will say, to have her back on this version of it, I will say that I am tired of the reparations argument. I am tired of everything being racist. That's one thing that I am really tired of. That, like, as soon as I'm hearing someone talking about anything, and they're like, well, it's racist too. And now everything is racist.
You know what I'm tired of? I'm tired of black left-leaning pundits. I'm not tired of black people. I'm not tired of black people asking or conversing about reparations. I'm not tired of. I'm tired of predatory black liberal media taking advantage of it, bringing the conversation to places that it was never supposed to go. These are conversations we were having in the barbershop, on the stoop, at the grill, in our own space, right? Deep political, philosophical, economical questions we were asking each other. And sometimes those questions would be asked on a university level, which is fine in my mind, right? It's just fine to pontificate about these things. It's even fine to even wonder if you can get a bill passed. But once you get the liberal media, right, and then you get bored liberals mixed into it who have no skin in the game. Some of them are actually, people, well-meaning people who really just want to help. I have to acknowledge those folks. But the other ones are just looking for another cause to champion, right?
Yeah, some white saviors. White saviors. But look at these poor savages. Don't know how to get ID.
Black guy's like, can I please get by you? I'm trying to get into the DMV. You don't know where it's at, sir. You're not able to get in.
It's crazy. You cannot. I'm sorry, I can go on and on about this, but I was going to say you can't subscribe to cable television without an ID.
Yes, you can.
They hit me up the other day. I had to change and this is for my parents. I don't watch cable. They wanted cable, but they wanted their cable switched. It was the biggest freaking headache. And guess what? I had to show ID both when I was canceling it and when I ordered the new one. What company does can I avoid ID searches?
Optimum and Frontier. Didn't have to do either one of those things.
Optimum made me to cancel.
You do live in a highfalutin area, though. You live around a lot of rich liberals.
Well, I think their motivation though was they were doing everything to try to stop me from canceling. It got at one point where they're like, the bill's being paid by Manuela. Do you have her permission to cancel? And I'm like, she's right here. And she had to like testify that she's giving her son the power to cancel cable.
Well, that's why, because it's not in your name. Typical.
It's still insane. It's insane. Okay. Don't tell me it's not insane to demand ID when you cancel cable.
Yeah, if you're not the person whose name is under.
I didn't know you were such a fascist. It is fat. We should do more things without IDs. We should just be free.
Well, you did just have a bad experience with the whole ID thing, but let's let God things continue.
And I think people are really annoyed with that type of rhetoric. There are also other people who say black fatigue, but they're actually describing more of the ghetto, ratchet, twerking in the middle of ongoing traffic type of behavior, which I too am also exhausted with.
Look, I'll just say this. I've seen some ghetto ass shit in my day. But twerking in the middle of traffic, I have not seen. I've seen it on TikTok. I've never seen it in person.
And Mantis is like, and I won't stop driving around until I see it.
Until I luck out and finally see it. But like she's saying it like it's standard practice in the hood.
Yeah.
Zero tolerance for
Atlanta, right? That's what made Glorilla famous, right? Wasn't it? Outside with my ratchet friends, even though that was a video. But come on, we can't, All right, this is always a difficult conversation to have. And some people say you should not have it out loud. I grew up in the hood. You grew up in the hood. Like, I've lived in many hoods. In fact, I had to live in a Greek hood because I was trying to gentrify that. Like, I was one of those people. But everyone's got the ones you don't want in your community to be highlighted, right? You're like, ooh, why'd they interview that guy? Like, oh, nah,
I think every community has that, though.
Yes.
Yeah. Even whites.
Yeah, especially whites.
There's sometimes on the news, I'm like, why did you go with that white dude? There's a white dude wearing a suit right behind him.
Usually, whenever I see a picture, usually, not all the time, and it starts with the words "man in Florida," it's definitely a white guy. That's
right. Oh, absolutely. Florida man is never black.
He was one time when he ate that dude. Remember the bath salts guy?
Wait, the bath salts guy is black?
Yeah, he had dreadlocks. He's black.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't see a picture. I just heard about it. I was like, oh, look at these hillbillies.
Black.
By the way, Beck says my friends and I would do that. We'd get out and twerk at every stoplight.
You're causing black fatigue, Beck.
Oh man. She said fun times. Exactly. Every community has its undesirables. Absolutely. That's well phrased.
Wherewithals. Oh, let's see what
ghetto nonsense. And this type of black person that I'm describing is what many people within the black community, I say this loosely again because I don't see myself as part of any collective, but this is what a lot of black people tend to describe as niggas. Okay, those tend to be the two types of things that.
Did I say she was a friend of the show? So first she says she doesn't identify as someone who's in the black community.
No, in any group setting or group community. Yeah, that's what she said.
Including black.
Yeah.
But that includes
yeah, all of them.
Okay, and so then
Christian, except for Christian. That's the
so
only
then she drops an N-bomb.
Hmm.
Doesn't realize that only people of the black community can use that, so she should just singled herself out from using that phrase. But
No, we're the only ones that can use it if we're willing to stand on business. I've seen white boys use the N-word before, and with 5 brothers around them, and this was not in New York before Beck says anything. This was actually in Philly. None of them said anything, and just like Chris Rock said, none of them said anything because you look at that dude, he got a lot of teardrops on his face, Mantis. A lot of tattoos around his neck. He's putting in that work, killing black people. Wait.
But he listens to hip hop, so he's one of us. We adopted his ass. So I'll tell you that, and I'm sure people were surprised at this, that I drop N-bombs. Well, I don't anymore, but before I was saved, I dropped N-bombs all the time in a playful, loving way to describe all various sorts of people. But I never used it. This is the one way I am totally against using it, to describe someone who's more ignorant or more ghetto than another black person. I hate that.
No, so let me ask you a question. You didn't laugh at that Chris Rock skit then?
Well, I mean, he's funny. I laugh at offensive stuff all the time, and so, but I mean, we all know what he was talking about.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat, help me out here.
Oh my goodness! Yeah,
I mean, using it to describe someone, being like, it's okay to use it. Like, here's what I'm saying: if your brother and sister, your black couple live in the suburbs, you don't use an N-bomb for them. But if you're some chick from the hood who twerks at every red light, sorry, Max, you call them in the N-bomb? You drop an N-bomb to refer to them?
Huh? I'm trying to
look at the logic right now.
No, that's the logic. So it's funny that you bring this up because Michelle Obama, I haven't read this myself, but I got it from a source that I trust. In fact, I trust this source so much that I allowed them to carry me 9 months in their stomach until I came into this world, if you get what I'm saying. And this source of mine read Michelle Obama's autobiography, at which point her grandfather, in one story, referred to our black brothers and sisters who might have been burning down Chicago during a certain period of time as boo-boos. Now,
less bad, but still not great.
So it's one of those things where it's like Beck said, and like you and I will acknowledge, yes, within the black communities, Haitian, Jamaican, Nigerian, anyone from the continent of Africa, there is some term, especially from Africa, like they have for people they think are behaving badly. If you ever have time, look up the term El Kata, and that is
okay. So I'm fine with that. I drop hillbilly all the time.
You're fine with them calling us cotton pickers?
No, well, no, not that. Here's what I'm saying. I'm fine with the concept of having a word for it. I don't like the N-word being used for the separation between a civilized black person and some Negro from the hood. Either we all are N-words or none of us are N-words.
Oh man, just standing on business. See, that's what happens when you go to public school during the 80s. He's sold on that brother stuff. Your problem was you didn't go to Chicago like I did during my formative years. And I was like, these N-words are crazy out here. No, I get what you're saying. It's true. We're either all that or none of us are that. And that's the conclusion you have to come to at the end of the day. But she's not saying anything we haven't heard, right?
Right.
Yeah, so let's see what Vanessa has to say.
People are describing when they're saying they are suffering from black fatigue. They're either sick of the wokeness, sick of the black leftism, or they're sick of the ratchet ghetto crap. But even so, I think these two examples are an oversimplification of what the real problem is. The real problem is something called idolatry. If you want to get specific, black idolatry. The fundamental reality for everyone, whether you are whether you call yourself religious or not, is that we all center our lives around something. Okay. So if it's not God, it's going to be something else. And that is ultimately going to determine the worldview that you live by. All of your values and principles, that is all based on what you put at the center of your life. So there's a reason why in the 10 commandments, the first 2 is you shall have no other gods before me, and you shall not worship idols. I know what I look like. I'm not blind. I see myself in the mirror every day, but I am not going to build my life on something as superficial as skin color. It's an immutable characteristic, and it tells me nothing about how I ought to live. Now, let's look at the niggas. What do they put at the center of their lives? I mean, whatever you want. Sex, money, affirmation, literally whatever they want.
Fronts.
Have you ever gone through the hood? Okay, lock your doors. But have you ever gone through the hood? Okay, I live in the good hood. Not as bad as like Chicago or anything like that, but I live in the good hood. And I understand what it's like to live in a community where people have no respect for their neighbor. They have no respect for their surroundings because everything is about me. And the problem is the black leftists, the wokies, the one that are always complaining about systemic racism and white supremacy. Yeah, oftentimes make excuses for the nigga side. You're anti-black. You don't understand their struggle. You know, you don't know their life. You don't know their experience. I know life is hard. I get that. I understand.
Yeah, you know what's really funny? You know why I'm so convinced that it is white liberals who've caused this and not brothers and sisters? It is not niggas, if you will, because actually in my own experience in life, I think I've only met less than as many fingers on one hand truly woke black people.
Okay, you know that I hold you in the highest regard, right? And I'm not going to discount your experience, but we can both agree that it's singular. Here's why I don't think it's only white liberals. I wish it was, but it's why I don't. Like, when I tell you it pains me to say what I'm about to say, literally it pains me. There is some validity to what Gothics is saying. There's a lot of validity to it, where we've gotten to a place where not all of us, not the totality of us, where we do excuse certain negative behaviors, right? That is the most political way I can say it. We excuse certain negative behaviors, and then if you call out a negative behavior in public or something like that, you are now hitting for the other team. But everyone sings that song into it's your beloved one on a t-shirt with 2 ugly doves floating around them.
Right.
Everyone sings that song until the crime starts to infringe upon you. Then I would love to see if your Afrocentric worldview would allow you to extend that level of grace as harm is being done to those that are closest to you. So I think she's talking about 2 very distinct things, right? Black elitists that'll sell us out, right? And then another group of people who will remain nameless that would sooner shoot you for looking at them the wrong way because they're not well adjusted. And that's where I'm going to leave it. Now, don't get me wrong. White liberals are at the root of this.
Right. Behind every crime is some white guy waiting to get his cut.
White liberal.
Right, it's white liberal. But like, because my example is we used to be on an app that shall not be named, right. And we had a mutual friend who was quite liberal. She was like liberal to the point where I was like throwing up. God bless her, love her. But I would say the black community did not have her back on most issues.
Oh,
right.
Yeah, I would say that the black community, I don't know who you're talking about, but when it comes to black liberals, actually black people having their backs, that depends on which city you're in and which conversation you're a part of on any given day. I've seen black people pump the brakes recently, and I've had private conversations with black women and black men pump the brakes on very public social issues like gender, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yes, I agree with you. Singularly, right? Those issues in private, because black people aren't crazy either, right? A lot of us, the same thing in ones. We're like, I got a job, I got to be somewhere. on Monday.
Right.
You ever notice you can tell where a black person stands on a hot button issue really with how much they weighed in and how many words they use or don't use in that conversation. I'll just leave it at that. I have no problem saying what's on my mind, but there are black people who are like, yeah, I don't know about that. Or they might respond with something like this. I guess so.
Which means they don't guess anything. Social pressure is forcing them to do that head nod.
But I can't deny what Gothics is saying right now, and in regards to ultra liberal ideology making its way into the black community. Yeah, there's some things that have rubbed blacks the wrong way, right? Yeah, and I think those cracks are starting to show more and more now. But continue. I heard there was a crazy thing that happened at a barbecue in Seattle or something like that. We don't talk about that, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
When you're saying on Monday?
Yeah, apparently some Antifa folk attacked some
Christians. Yeah, some Christians who were singing songs about love and peace.
You know what I noticed? Not one black person in the crowd. Black people are out line dancing. We're not getting involved with this type of stuff anymore.
See, that's my argument. That here's what I'm saying. I think, in my experience, blacks can only be so woke. They never go full, or very rarely,
right,
fully off the edge. They'll go off the edge about all sorts of other things, being a hotepa.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Conspiracy theories. Oh, there's a bunch of that. But being a straight up wokey. And I'll say this, and this is, you can hate on me for all you want on this one. At my church, there's one girl who grew up in a black girl, grew up where I go to church and where I live. Very white town. I'm not from it. I live there now. And she was woke. She was woke AF. She was woke as AF. And I just remember, and this is what I said, and the community agreed with me. She's saying her thing. She's a relatively young girl. She's probably on her way to college. She walked away, and I said, that poor girl, these white people got her thinking she's white.
Uh-oh.
I got nothing but high fives for that statement.
From white people?
From blacks.
Oh.
Because what it is the older generation didn't understand where she was coming from, with all her woke talk, about looking out for Native Americans and protesting this and that, all sorts of stuff.
Look, listen, Native Americans need people to look out for them. They
do. I'm not hating.
They can't find their IDs either.
They can't drive. They can't get a job, and they can't sign up for cable. These poor people. Who's gonna help all these ID-less idiots out there? Other than if there weren't white allies, right?
If only there was one white liberal to help us.
One white.
All right, let's wrap up, Gothic.
That still doesn't give you an excuse to make bad decisions and then on top of that blame other people instead of taking ownership for those bad decisions. And then we wonder why there is such a thing as black fatigue. We wonder why, and I can tell you why. It all boils down to a group of people who, instead of putting God first, put themselves first, put their skin color first, their wants, their desires, their passions. They put all of that above God. And now they're wondering why people are tired of their crap.
Yo, I gotta say, I love this girl.
I mean,
this is like the third video I've ever watched in her in the last decade. But if that was my sample, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. It's funny because I'm looking over at my other screen. I'm just looking to see black fatigue. I wanted to see if I can get it from like another perspective, like black people. Right, black, but everything pretty much that I'm seeing right now lines up with what Gothic says. Right, it's all the same thing, except for one woman. She's got. Oh wait, this might be the winner. She's got glasses on. She's got dreads. She might. She might be the one we're looking for.
Oh, can you put it on the screen on your own?
Yeah, I can do that. I can do that. Give me a sec. He said, "Send it, send it to me now."
Basically, Libs of TikTok has a brilliant brand in terms of the way she does things, right?
Right.
Is she doesn't even do any content. She lets the liberals do the content, and all she's doing is replaying it.
It's a winning formula, and you wish people to stop stepping into it. Actually, you know what I'm sick of, man? I'm sick of anon accounts. This is something I can't get behind, man. Whether you're liberal or conservative, if you ain't got the balls to say it with your face out, don't say it at all, bro. Anons are ruining conversation across the board. You know what I'm saying? Like they just bring a heat to it where I'm just like, who invited this idiot? And they roll in packs too, man. They roll in packs. They kick poor Myron out.
Yeah, they're from the same platform. Yeah, no, you know what it is? I get it. You're right. They do it for everything, not just politics. I'm on Twitter all day long fighting the good fight against these people, in the name of comic books.
Right.
Like I make a joke about Ironheart, and then they're like, "That's because you're a casual who doesn't understand Marvel." And I'm like, "What did he say to me? What is this guy who has like Tony Stark's son as his picture, as his profile pic, say to me?"
It's true, man. Anons
He calls himself a flag smasher or some other unpopular.
Because words, phrases, and terms actually have true meaning. Let's talk about the real definition of Black fatigue.
All right.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the channel, Tabitha Speaks Politics. I am Tabitha. If you've come across this video and are not subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and click that subscribe button. I'd be happy to have you. I'm trying to get to 500,000 subscribers across all of my social media pages. So if you've come across this video out there on social media, please make sure you're following me on TikTok, on Instagram, on Threads, on Blue Sky, on Skylight, and over at the home page right
Blue
here.
Sky, so I already
YouTube.
know what she's about.
Now, racists and MAGA nuts and MAGA trolls and the antagonizing racist white people that support Donald Trump, who are a part of the evangelical Christian community, they out here lying again. They are taking the phrase, the words, the term Black fatigue and turning it into something that is not. Yes, they are saying that white people are fatigued by Black people, and they are calling it Black fatigue. They want Black people to stop holding them accountable for their racism, for their misogyny, for their homophobia. They don't want Black people talking about the corrupt system. They don't want Black people talking about their corrupt president. They don't want Black people calling out the hypocrisy of the MAGA movement, the Christianity, national Christianity movement. They want Black people to shut up. They are tired of Black people making it aware that they are racist. They are tired of Black people.
Well, I'm tired of race grifters like this lady.
They are tired.
If you're wondering why there's so many pauses, it's not because she doesn't know what she's going to say next. It's because she's on TikTok, so she has to. There's a limited amount of time for the reel. So yeah, this is the definition that I was most familiar with when I heard the term Black fatigue. I was like, oh, okay, what are they talking about? And that's what I thought. I was like, oh, that's not what they're talking about at all. Like this is the original definition as I understood it, and it has been co-opted like woke.
Woke, yeah.
It has been co-opted. Why can't white folks co-opt something real like useful, like hotepism?
So I'm going to tell you, it's white women. White women are the problem. No offense, but it's funny because we've got a few fans that are white women. Sorry, ladies, love you, but your ilk is up to no good. And I'll tell you, I realized woke was done because I used to use woke in the real way back in the day, and I remember one day this woman, I was leaving work, and this woman was like, she was a casual friend from the gym, and she was like, you need a ride? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll take a ride. And she was talking about something. And I remember like I didn't agree with some radical feminist idea she was saying. And I said this, and she goes, well, that's not very woke of you. And it was a white woman talking about feminism. And it was like, how does she know that word? And she's misusing it. And so here's what I'm saying. Just like white women co-opted DEI, they co-opted woke for their own purposes, for their own in the defense of feminism. They co-opted that word. Just like DEI, their feminist movements, because who is the biggest complainer in the world? Who is it? It's the Karen. What is the Karen? We all know that's a slang for a white complaining biatch.
Dude, catch the question.
Like Karens took control of DEI.
Oh boy. What type of haircut did this person have that gave you a ride? I just want to know. Does she have like a Rosie O'Donnell type haircut?
No, it wasn't that easy. She came from the gym, so her hair was down. You know what I mean? Like, she was sweaty or whatever.
What? That was a weird detail. That
I'm just saying, like it wasn't stylized one way or the other, but it was gym time. But I'm saying that's when they get co-opted, man.
It's true, man. It's true.
They want Black people to shut up and take their abuse. They are fatigued by Black people standing up for themselves. They are fatigued by empowered Black people. They want to go back to a time when Black people could only speak when permission was given by them. They want to go back to a time.
Here's my problem. Can we pause it real quick?
Yeah, I got you.
It's interesting to hear her say, and I understand we're showing a different way of thinking or whatever. But you notice how, like, in her attempt to make an argument, she's not making an argument. She's stating her opinion over and over again, very righteously. But she is not stating facts. She's not citing people's behavior, or how does she know this about these MAGA people? How does she make this connection? I would love to hear her prove it.
Okay, so you know what? We got to be consistent. We didn't put those stipulations on poor Vanessa, right? We just had a hard time with her saying the N-word because you called her blackness into question at the onset of the show.
No, you did, because you were the one who was like, well, really, she's a Latino. So
no, that's not what I said. I was like, people accuse.
I know you didn't say that fully, but we all know what you meant.
We know what you meant. I get what you're saying. There are some assertions going on. Her argument would be better laid like, hey, this is another thing that's being co-opted. It's being taken and it's being used and weaponized against us. And if she would have done like some dope videographer like type of thing, showing Black people dealing with Black fatigue throughout, I don't know, let's say 1930 to today, one of those really emotional ones with the music behind it, and they show like a little Black kid in Harlem in black and white, and that Black kid turns out to be like your grandfather.
Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris. Amazing, man.
Oh, it would be amazing. Here's what I'm saying. Gothics didn't make statements about what other people believe who would fight against it, right? She was saying, these people are saying this is what Black fatigue is. And the people who say Black fatigue, they wouldn't argue this. What I want this woman to prove is she is stating that MAGA people want this country to go back to a time where Black people can't speak. Can she prove that? And is there any basis to any of this thought, or is this random opinion?
Well, there is that one guy on the internet, the Jay Denna and all those dudes. Not Jay Denna, he's a singer. All those guys, the most racist man in America, and he like jokes with Black guys about being racist, but he's being dead serious about the stuff he's saying. He wears a "Make America Great Again" hat, so I assume they all got to be like.
Oh well, okay, there we go. Because it's basically like, for instance, if I looked at you and I said, "You think I'm ugly,"
yes,
and then you say, "I do not think you're ugly," it would be up to me to show evidence that Steve thinks Roy is ugly.
Right.
This woman is not showing any evidence. She's just going over. She's just hating on people over and over and over again.
But what about the racist guy with the MAGA hat I just told you about? That's evidence.
Oh, I think it's been a while since you've debated, friend. Which means I need to debate you soon. Rusty AF.
All right. Do you want me to let this finish out, or you?
Yeah, let her finish out. Let's let the sister cook.
All right, let me.
When they could be disrespectful and racist to Black people without consequence. And to that I say, since they are so fatigued by how Black people are moving, I say to my Black people, put your foot on the gas. Keep your feet on their necks. But as I started out this video saying that terms and phrases and words have meaning, I want you to know what the true meaning of Black fatigue is. Black fatigue refers to the emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by the daily stress of living under systemic racism and its consequences. It's a term coined by diversity and equity consultant Mary Frances Winters to describe the toll of constant microaggressions, the need to prove oneself, and exposure to news about injustice and violence against Black people.
And you know why I'm clapping?
Why?
That was what this one part was done real well.
Okay.
She proved that that Black fatigue was co-opted because the original meaning was programmed into the AI.
Right? Yes, I can't tell if that was a backhanded compliment or not.
No. I'm serious. This part is well done. So she is proving that it was co-opted.
Yeah, there you go. Right. All right. We'll let her go out on the win, man. So that was Black Fatigue coming to a theater near you, right? On the Zeus network.
And of course, this is going to be a great segue to the next thing that we talk about, because this is a little bit of Marvel, a little bit of Black Fatigue, and a lot of controversy.
Oh, I haven't watched this yet. So what is this? Is the Ironheart one?
Yeah, this is the Ironheart one. So should we watch the trailer first?
Yes.
Or should we discuss the what's going on?
Let's watch it first. Let's watch it first and see what happens here. Ryan Coogler. Okay, I didn't know that.
Executive producer.
Hello?
Means his name's on it.
He has aged up a little bit, huh?
For real?
Oh no, never mind.
Welcome, Mary. In less than 3 minutes, the air in this elevator will no longer be breathable.
Oh, what is this?
Your interview. You'll suffocate and die unless you break into the device on the floor, where you will find a gas mask. Good luck.
Screw this.
I heard Riri Williams was a genius. So you in or out? Riri, I see you. I see you're fed up, waiting to be acknowledged for your greatness.
You are not the first genius at MIT. How come you're not working at one of those fancy tech firms?
After my internship abroad, I want to build something undeniable, something
important,
iconic.
It's a brand new
I can give you the tools to help you carry out your vision. But anyone who's ever accomplished anything iconic in life has had to do some questionable things to get it done. What will you do, Riri?
You've bitten off a hell of a lot more than you can chew. I could chew a lot.
You know nothing about this man.
You're gonna end up dead or in jail.
This is so much bigger than that. This is wild. A shady bunker.
My bunker's not shady. Would a shady bunker have that on the wall?
It's literally above a crate of self-guided missiles.
I'm returning those.
Okay, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. Like,
I agree, and I am going to watch the first and second, whatever they drop opening night, right?
that's crazy because you never admit to watching anything. Usually you'll lie and say you're not gonna watch it, and then tell me and Shaolin you watched it.
So I'm gonna be real. I'll tell you exactly why this happened, right?
Why?
Because I never read any. I don't think I've read a single comic book with Ironheart in it, even though I know, I kept track of when she took over Iron Man's comic, and they're like, "Yo, this black chick's gonna take over dead Iron Man's comic." I was like, "Okay, that's weird." No, I don't have
fatigued,
and I think yes, right. I'm fatigued of black characters taking over white characters' roles and taking their names in comic books. No, I'm kidding. The thing is that the thing that annoys me the most, that will mess me up the most about a comic book feature, is if it's not like the comic or they go against it. I have no way to be upset now.
Right.
If it's good, it's good to me, and I'm not gonna cry.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it its fair due, just like I've given everything else its fair due coming out of Marvel. I'm gonna watch it. She didn't annoy me as much in this trailer as she did in Wakanda Forever. But let me tell you why she annoyed me. It's not the actress. I personally don't have anything against the young sister. In fact, I thought she did a great job considering what she was handed. Let's just acknowledge something. Everyone did a great job on Wakanda Forever, considering everything that had happened and what they were handed, right?
Yes, I totally agree with that.
The movie we were supposed to get versus what we got. Shout out to Ryan Coogler. It had nothing to do with him and his talent. It had to do with the passing of Chadwick,
right?
Which is not Chadwick.
Everything.
Yeah, I'm not blaming Chadwick in any way, shape, or form. Blaming Kevin Feige. But here's the deal. I read, when I say I read, I listened into one of the Ironheart arcs when I think she teamed up with like Dr. Doom when he was also Iron Man for a tad bit, which was also very interesting. But I did think that was weird that everyone loved the Dr. Doom version. They hated the Riri one, but I have speculation about that. I'm going to watch this show and I'm just going to see how it furthers the story. I'm bummed that we're not going to get the War Machine movie. Like that really bums me out, man.
That was one of my top picks from the things they announced. I was really looking forward to that.
Yeah. I'm completely indifferent to this, but I'm going to watch it. Now, there is a charged reaction on the internet. I would have thought that this trailer would have included trans people holding hands while peeing on the Trump flag.
I can give you several things, reasons why. One is black fatigue. I'm kidding.
Black fatigue.
So here's why people don't have faith in the character, and this is why I would normally not either. So in the comic book, she didn't exist already.
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't like she was a sidekick or she was the guy in the chair, as they say, for a superhero. She wasn't a student. She didn't go to MIT. She didn't have some sort of connection to Tony Stark. He died, and then this black girl came and found his AI.
Right.
And inherited his mantle. And she took over his comic book. And I see people on the internet trying to say she never took his mantle. She never took his mantle. She literally took over the comic book entitled The Invincible Iron Man.
Yep.
The Invincible Iron Man was her comic for a while. That's as much as taking over as you could be. And people hated it because she didn't have a past with him.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think if they had put her in the movies in Iron Man and she maybe knew Iron Man, maybe she was like a student or something, people would feel more comfortable with it. But I think people are initially having the knee-jerk reaction from the comic saying, who is this chick to inherit his legacy?
And it was in the hills of a very weird time in Marvel, and which led to a very weird story, which had Infinity Stones that were the size of boulders, and Loki had them on his chest and on Thor's hammer. It was all very confusing.
It was during the all new, all different Marvel where they were ever swapping people out.
Yeah,
it worked with Thor, and then they were like, let's just do it to everybody.
Yeah,
and they started swapping out all the heroes for unlikely heroes.
Yeah.
And it was a bad gimmick. It was a bad gimmick.
You know, it's crazy, man. Yeah, you're right. The Jane Foster Thor arc was actually really, really good. I'm sorry, Ripper, you're wrong in my opinion. That culminated in like one of the that was a great storyline.
Great storyline. I only read the first 6. But yeah, because I had to check her out. I had to check out the new female Thor, and I was into it. I thought it was well done.
Yeah.
And they didn't execute it so well in the movies, but I'm saying that the success of that people were willing to accept it. They said, well, if we can make Thor a girl, what else could we do? And then, they have stories where, they're draining the super soldier serum out of Steve Rogers' blood, and he becomes an old man again. And then, Sam has to take up the mantle. And then they made, that the Asian sidekick to Hulk, become the totally awesome Hulk.
Yeah.
And then this happened, and all our heroes weren't there anymore. They were replaced.
Yeah, by marginalized groups, which
and you could see how people might have a bad reaction to that.
Yeah, I'm telling you, there's got to be a liberal at the root of all the dismay in the world. Like, it doesn't even mean they have to be intentionally doing it. I'm telling you that somewhere there's some well-intentioned liberal down there with the rest of them, and he's just like, you know what would be great, guys?
So
more white rappers.
Oh, right. Here's what I'm saying. The least, like, a lot of music awards shows are like illegitimate, but the worst is the American Music Awards. Now, I'm not saying Eminem is not one of the world's greatest rappers. I'm just saying this year, it is weird to give it to Eminem and not to Kendrick. That's all I'm saying.
No, I think that's appropriate, man. Kendrick's got enough in life. He already vanquished his greatest enemy.
I'm saying in terms of achievement of this year.
Of this year, I mean,
Kendrick is more significant rapper than Eminem this year.
I mean, what did he really do? He beat up on a Canadian for an entire year,
and then he got a Grammy for it, and then he took it to the Super Bowl. Like, that's pretty big.
I mean, how much more winning do we in the culture of hip hop? We got to hate on him a little bit, so we got to keep him in check. You know what I'm saying? Keep him in check. Besides, that Super Bowl objectively sucked. Oh wait. No, that's up for debate too. Nothing's objective. Everything's subjective.
Yeah, because of the spin, man. The media spin, right? It's up is down, left is right. You think 2 + 2 is 4, but some liberals got an essay about how you're wrong and math is racist.
Really 3. So the thing is, I'm gonna watch this, right? I'm gonna enjoy it. It's funny, before we even talked about any of this stuff tonight, a bunch of Wakanda, well, not a bunch. One thing from Wakanda Forever kept popping up on my feed, which is Okoye's fight with the bad Submariner, who they made the Submariners like henchmen in there. And that was actually a great fight. I forgot how tense that whole battle on the bridge was when they were trying to take Ironheart. Everything. Oh, you didn't like that scene.
So, okay. Here's what I'm saying that I thought was silly about the whole thing.
Atlantean. Was it women fighting again? Was this the thing that I'm saying?
No, this isn't women fighting. This is Black people on a boat fighting people who live at sea and winning.
No. Does
that make any sense?
That was crazy.
The sea people should have won.
That was crazy. That was Wakanda, this technologically advanced warrior culture. They are a warrior separatist culture, and their grand scheme, led by their new leader, was to take a submarine deep into the enemy's territory.
To people who don't even need devices to live under the water, like they're naturally there. They all have super strength. How did Wakanda even win?
If they go with the storyline where they dismantle, they dissolve the kingdom, it should be right after this event, right? If there's a storyline in the Black Panther lore where they're like, what do we need a king for? What do we need a queen for? Even the friggin' Dora Milaje get in on it. And it's a great arc. It's during the whole Hickman Run 2 type of stuff. But that was just a poor. But I wasn't talking about that scene. I was talking about the actual fight on the bridge. When
Okay, the actual fights, the fighting was great.
no, but I'm talking about one particular fight on the bridge. Do you know which fight scene?
I do know what you're talking about.
Do I need to play it for you?
You don't need to play it. Yes, I remember it. Yes, I
You
remember.
look confused.
I'm not confused. What I'm saying is, at that part of the movie, they were having fight after fight after fight, and so I think of it all as one fight. One endless fight.
Great fight scene, but we'll see what the fight scenes. The cloak. What's this guy's name again? The hood. Not to be confused with other characters with similar abilities.
Like the Red Hood. People keep calling him, even like people who cover comic books call him the Red Hood. The Red Hood is the second Robin in DC Comics. The just regular Hood is this idiot. Who, by the way, this show looks good, but the Hood looks stupid.
You know what's funny? The Hood made an appearance in What If? Did you see that? But it was not this guy. It was someone else had on the Hood in the last season of What If. Did you watch the last season of What If?
I did. Yeah, I did.
It was like the Shang-Chi episode. Oh, it was his sister. His sister was the Hood. She had on the Hood. Super kung fu moves. Yeah. I don't know about this guy. I know this character is ambiguous at best. He's had some moments in Marvel Comics, one of which is getting the Infinity Gauntlet, but by the time he had gotten it, 6 other people had it, like a girl at a party. So it doesn't really matter that he had it.
Well, it's like the Phoenix Force.
Yeah, everyone.
Here's what it is. It's the Phoenix Force. It's being one of the Horsemen of Apocalypse, or it's having Silver Surfer's power cosmic. It's not a lead anymore because everyone and their mother has been in there.
Yeah, it's also like picking up Thor's hammer. It's also like beating Wolverine in a hand-to-hand fight in the Danger Room. These things aren't impressive anymore. It's like resurrecting Apocalypse, right? If you haven't resurrected Apocalypse,
Jean Grey.
Yeah. If you haven't done any of these things, you're not really a Marvel character. But I'm gonna watch this, bro. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it. You know?
I'm gonna like it. I think the special effects look good.
Yeah.
She apparently they had to sever her, not sever. Maybe they never intended to, but they seem to not have the Iron Man connection with her, where she's taking the Iron Man tech, but she's not inheriting his money or the AI.
Well, that's because they did that with Spider-Man and then wiped everyone's memory.
I can't stand it when they pass these things around.
Yeah.
These stories around. And so what was it like? For instance, the writers for the Sentry, they said that they're like, originally we had his original origin in there, but we realized that Spider-Man had already done that.
Yeah.
With the Forget Me spell. And they couldn't do it again. And so they had to take out the first chunk of Sentry story. And I'm like, and they're giving these good plots to the A characters.
Yeah.
At the cost of the B character.
Yeah. You know what's interesting though, man? I'm kind of happy they didn't do that with the Sentry Forget Me spell, because it was a little bit more complex. It was like a spell mixed with some technology, and the Fantastic
Reed Richards was up in there, and it was
I'm glad this is not that guy. I still think it should have been Sentry versus Icarus on the Suicide Squad.
I think that would have been amazing.
That would have been a great fight, man. But yeah, Riri Williams, that's how weak this story might be. You notice how we had to jump around to fill this segment for you, Riri? Riri, you got a lot on your back. I'll tell you that much. You better pull this. You better pull it off.
Oh man. That's what I'm saying. There's so many haters. Like, people are claiming, once again, you need a special app to see the downvotes on YouTube. But people are claiming that there's more, that it's been ratioed or whatever, that there's more dislikes than likes.
Well, here's the thing, right? Everything gets ratioed nowadays. That's just like the Marvel stuff we were talking about. If you're not getting ratioed, you're not doing the right thing, bro.
I know, that's true. They're like Jesus is resurrecting, and then it gets ratioed.
Oh, I have strong opinions on how people would react to Jesus if he came back today. Hey, I'm just going to use the bathroom really quick. You cue the people up.
Okay. So who do we got up in my chat? Who's still with us here on the Fanboy Modeling School? We are Riz Radio, the Fanboy Modeling School. We keep it real. We tackle pop culture and we tell it how it is. And of course, for DJs who spin the latest and greatest in hit music, Riz Radio music from your next breakup. We looks like we got Pink Princess in the house. We got my man Rico. We got DT Dubs. We got Rogue Radio. We've got Shaolin Ice Boxer. We've got Dream Duck as well. Thank you guys all for showing up, and all of those who are hiding out there, we love you. And thank you so much. Here, my man Steve is back. So we're going to get into this new this information that they've announced about Brand New Day. You ready for this?
I'm ready for it, brother.
We're finally entering that era once again where we are going to get consistent updates on the next Spider-Man movie. And that's exactly what I'm going to be bringing you here today, because it looks like we just found out who will be the Marvel character to team up with Tom Holland's Spider-Man for Spider-Man Brand New Day. This is, of course, not just going to be about my opinion. I need to hear from you Spider-Man fans, because we're still pretty much in a big web of mystery of what exactly is happening in this movie. And even just this new piece of information, still a curveball, and I'm so lost on what's happening in this film, and that's kind of exciting. So please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and well, let's just jump into it. All right, so the news that we got today is coming to us from Nexus Point News, that is actually an extremely reliable source on the internet. I've been following them for a while, and every time they put something out, it ends up becoming true. I've rarely seen them get anything wrong. I'm at the point now where I pretty much take it as fact, and it's only a matter of days before the studio themselves actually confirm it. A lot like the Elden Ring movie. That got confirmed this week, but last week, Nexus Point News was the first to let us know. So the news that they're actually telling us today is that Mark Ruffalo is set to return as Bruce Banner in Spider-Man Brand New Day. And this isn't looking to be like a cameo or a quick appearance. It's said that he has a large role. The article here says exactly, it is currently unknown what role Banner will play in the story, or whether he'll also be portraying his alternate green persona. Nexus Point News can confirm Bruce Banner's appearance will be much larger than a cameo. And
okay, so I noticed that, like, you notice even on the art for this video and all these videos that are covering this, they keep showing regular Hulk. They're like, there's Spider-Man, and they Photoshop like a Spider-Man next to a Hulk.
Right.
The last time we saw him, he was Professor Hulk, which means he's a little smaller. He wears clothes. He's less strong, but he's able to talk and be normal. And so that's not exactly the Hulk. And so I'm sure he's going to be on as like a mentor role or something like that. But it's not the fun Hulk, that, you know, the savage Hulk that we love so much.
They've ruined the Hulk.
Honestly, they need to find a way to get the Professor Hulk gone.
Yeah, because even Professor Hulk in the comics, man, he had some edge to him. He wasn't just like, you know, gee golly willikers, let's eat sausages and pancakes, you know, like
I feel you. Yeah. That's it. So here's another problem that I'm having with this whole thing. So they could get him for a Sony movie, but they couldn't get him for Brave New World, which he desperately should have been in that movie.
Yeah.
How do you have the leader in the Red Hulk go up against Sam, but not against their true enemy, the Hulk?
Bro, every time I've watched that movie, it just, at first I thought it was cool that Red Hulk was in it, but now you said something that was haunting. Like, there really was no point in him being in that movie, man. Like, it's like they have no connection to each other.
What are they doing here? And I noticed they've been doing that a lot lately, and hopefully they'll stop.
Right.
You know, like Ant-Man's fighting you know, what's his face? Who's the guy? I already forgot the name of the guy. Kang, right? The guy they got rid of.
Right,
so he fights Kang and MODOK, but Ant-Man doesn't fight them.
Right.
And so I don't know what they're doing with any of this stuff. But I think that it's just not well thought out that he's going to be in a Spider-Man movie. Not that Spider-Man doesn't interact with the Hulk. He does. But if Mark Ruffalo should have been in any movie, it should have been Captain America: Brave New World.
I agree with that, brother. Now here's the thing, man. Spider-Man and the Hulk running around with each other. I would have just preferred this was just a Spider-Man movie. Hell, Moon Knight, right? But the Hulk, that makes it campy. That screams Disney. Right?
Yeah,
it doesn't scream like something amazing is happening street level. In fact, it just screams BS to me. But
you know, he's going to use the super science to do all sorts of weird things, probably interdimensional travel and all sorts of stuff. So
exactly.
You know, our dreams of having a street level Spider-Man movie might have gone out in flames.
Bro, there's no Venom. That's going to go down in history as another thing that Marvel never completed. Like they're just like, it's just a thing that happened in the movie.
The craziest thing, I don't know if you've heard this. I hope it's a lie or something, but I heard somewhere that they had said, "Oh, the only reason we didn't have Spider-Man in a Venom movie fighting him is we didn't think you wanted it."
Yeah, you told me that before, and I was like, I don't know who they were talking to on that one. Like, I don't know.
That was the craziest thing. That would have been such an easy. That would have been a $2 billion film if they had
Easy.
This, a Venom either 2 or 3 be him versus Tom Holland.
What they really meant to say was we didn't want to tarnish Spider-Man with a lower character that we didn't understand, and if it was going to be sustainable, which is why we didn't have him in Morpheus, and we removed any hint of him in that Morpheus movie, Morpheus, whatever it was. What's the name of the movie? The Vampire?
Oh, Morbius, yeah.
Morbius, yeah. And that's why you got the friggin' Vulture flying around in another reality with tech he shouldn't have access to.
It's totally insane. Yeah, it was insane. By the way, I saw Kraven the Hunter.
Oh, did you?
Oh man, where to begin? I'm not going to make this a review,
right?
But this movie is probably everything you've dreamed it was.
Like in a bad way? like I'm being held
against
my
what I'm
will?
saying.
It
starts with a really good action sequence, and then from there, everything is laughable. The things that are going on. And here's the thing: they have him do some really cool superhero stuff, but stuff Kraven can't do.
Right. Yeah.
They literally have him jump out of a window and he runs on all fours like he's an animal down a skyscraper.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, the Kraven I know could never do that. So they give him all these extra powers or whatever. He basically could do whatever any animal could do, basically.
Yeah, it's stupidity, and I'm not gonna watch it. I'm actually taking your stance and saying I've had access to it for a full year now for free, and I'm just like, I won't be watching that, and if I can help it, I won't be watching the Minecraft movie too. I'm doing everything in my power.
I'm surprised your kids haven't forced you yet.
Every day is a new adventure. Me ducking and dodging this movie.
Yo, man, just suck it up and watch it. This is what dads do.
No. Dads. At a certain point, you got to draw a line. Yeah, but Spider-Man. Look, this is kind of a nothing burger, and we can squeeze it into another nothing burger, and maybe you can help me understand this. But between this and the Pedro Pascal fiasco, I don't know what to think about anything anymore. Can you tell me why everyone's mad at Pedro Pascal right now?
Well, I know what different groups feel about it, right? And so, there's one aspect is that he's in everything.
Right.
And I think people are annoyed with that, right?
Right.
Obviously, there's some people like, for instance, Tyrone Magnus is one of these people. He doesn't think he should play Reed Richards because Reed Richards is not Hispanic. I mean, I don't really care that much.
Well, he's definitely white passing, right? If anyone fits,
yes, he's a white Hispanic. So, if the biggest change they do give him a mustache, I'm going to live with that.
Right.
And then there's the whole pride thing. And you heard about this?
Oh no, what happened?
So there was I don't know if it was a pride parade. It was up on a stage. So I don't know what it was. It was some LGBT thing, right? And he was up there. He wasn't the main event. He was just kind of hanging out while the main people were doing these things. And there's video of him, and he takes out this big rod, this glowing rod.
What?
And he's going he's taking his tongue and he's pretending to lick it and he's dancing with it. And, it kind of outed him, in my opinion, as a gay man.
Oh, wow.
Now, here's the thing. I've theorized for a while, and I'm not trying to claim like I'm the only one who knew this because I think a lot of people have. I've theorized that he was in the closet.
I mean, it doesn't blow my mind. It doesn't blow my mind. That is a bit abrasive, though. The friggin' pole. Oh,
yeah.
Right. Yes, and if you're wondering, I'm looking to see the context of this right now. I'm like, this man just pulled out a pole on stage and was just like, "Let's go!"
Yeah. So, and what it is kind of out of him. And here's what it is. I understand he was probably, he was using old school Hollywood thought process that he gets a lot of manly, and I think of him as a very manly man.
Oh, I see.
Very manly, hero, man's man roles, right? He's cowboys, he's Mandalorian, he's all sorts of stuff. He thinks that he won't get those roles if he comes out.
Yeah, it is, and this will not prevent him from getting.
Oh, here's the thing. I think he didn't think he was being recorded. Why he didn't think he was being recorded, and he's such a big celebrity, I don't know. Right? And so you see it. You're gonna watch it.
I'm looking at it right now. This is as weird as it gets, bro.
Yeah. I think people are starting to hate on him because of that, but it's just like whatever, man. Action heroes are gay sometimes.
Listen, I mean, he doesn't have to worry about that version of Hollywood anymore. All those producers are dead.
It's the 21st century.
Those dudes all died underneath prostitutes in Mexico. Popping Quaaludes.
Right.
Like that part of Hollywood hasn't existed in a while. Yeah, man, I don't understand it, man. This is what we have to deal with in our entertainment news. I don't know why the Hulk is going to be in Spider-Man. I don't know what they're going to do with the Spider-Man movie, but I'm going to go see it because I'm enthusiastic. There's some redhead who might either be Jean Grey or Mary J from another universe. Who knows? Right?
So I think she's going to be Mayday Parker, Spider-Man's daughter from the future.
You've gone everywhere with this theory. I want you to...
Here's what it is. I never thought it was Jean Grey. I never thought it was Jean Grey. In the beginning, I thought it was either a doppelganger, variant, they call them, of Mary Jane, or I thought it was Firestar from His Amazing Friends. That's the one I wanted. But the more I hear more rumors, I think they're saying that it's going to be Tobey Maguire's daughter from his dimension.
Well, it's funny you say that because the first thing that pops up when I type in Mayday is that actress. So that's something that's being speculated on the internet heavy. Who knows, man? But this is not what I was thinking we were going to get, man. But I should have known we're in the multiverse saga. It just came off of a multiversal adventure. I was hoping for some street level stuff. I still need to wrap up Daredevil. I don't know if there's any tie-ins to Spider-Man at the end of Daredevil. In fact, why don't you just spoil it for me? What was this big reveal everyone was talking about?
Reveal? No, there's no connection.
Oh, there's no connection. So it was just the Punisher showing up and it being an amazing last fight scene or something.
Yeah, it was amazing kick-ass thing. As a matter of fact, I'm kind of annoyed that they don't have more connections to the MCU. Somebody even pointed out that they said the skyline doesn't even have Avengers Tower on it.
Yeah.
It was the same. You know what it is? It was the same thing as Netflix.
Yeah.
They're in the MCU, but they're not, and they don't talk about it.
Right.
We're supposed to believe they're in the same universe.
Because where was Spider-Man during the events of what's going on in Thunderbolts?
This is what I'm saying. I would have. Oh my god, I would have loved to seen just a quick one of Spider-Man swinging through the thing, headed towards Sentry, and Sentry just turning around and whisking him away.
Yeah, but Sony, see, that's the problem. See, now you've described the problem. We would have enjoyed that as comic fans. We even got something like that in X-Men '97. We're used to that. Heroes showing up in calamity, and since they're not the focal point, something bad happens or they get sunned.
Yeah, they're unable to rap.
But Sony and Marvel I bet you any amount of money in my little nerd world, Sony was like, no, you just cannot do that to him.
Yo, I think you're so right, and I really love that invitation you just pulled off. That is exactly a Sony exec going off. Rico says, oh my god, finally, thank god. I had enough of everyone telling me how much they love Pedro Pascal. Yeah, he's pretty beloved. But he's getting way too much work.
For me, he blew up on the scene. Game of Thrones had one of the most anticlimactic deaths after the longest monologue that led to his death, right?
I think that was the funny thing about it, though, right?
Yeah, that was crazy. And I was like, anyone that talks this much in Game of Thrones is definitely gonna die. But I was still then obviously, he was in the Kingsman too. I thought he was great in Kingsman too. The funny thing was him as a villain was really cool. I just didn't like that he wasn't that strong of a villain where it took two characters to defeat him. He was like a one boss fight type.
I love it. You have a word for it, a one boss.
And then then obviously getting into The Last of Us, thought he did amazing on there. I've seen him in other stuff. Pedro Pascal has done, He's done some good stuff. Maybe a little oversaturated. Wasn't my pick for Reed Richards for sure. Oh, hey.
The one thing that might be the hope is that I think Reed Richards is against his normal type.
Mm-hmm.
And so if he's playing an oddball scientist, that will be very different from the manly cowboy he usually plays.
Yeah, it's going to be funny to see him juxtaposed against Robert Downey Jr. when they actually share the same space. Those are some of my favorite interactions in the comics are between Reed Richards and Stark and Bruce Banner and Doctor Doom. Like when the intellectuals get together in Marvel Comics, T'Challa, it's always an interesting time. Grace looks unhappy. She doesn't have her sexy shirt on, and there seems she went light on the makeup, so that means she might not be saying nice things right now.
Right. And so I have pulled up for people who are only listening on Riz Radio or our podcast. We have Grace Randolph here, and I'm sorry for those who are like hate it when we use her as a source, but she had what is not an exclusive, but she's the first one to post about it. And so there apparently was a test screening of Fantastic Four. Somehow people have found out or supposedly found out what people said about it. And I have cut to the part where she talks about that. Should we jump into this?
Let's do it.
Let's see what these bastards, these normies who know nothing about comic books, have to say.
First thing we want to talk about is they had a Fantastic Four test screening. They just had a Fantastic Four test screening. And so some people, I think, might wonder, why have a test screening now? And usually Disney and Marvel do their test screenings for friends and family to try and control spoilers. Only they learned that does not work. I think they're probably a little bit nervous about the film. I wouldn't have test screened it because a whole bunch of stuff leaked about it, which I'm about to kind of go over with you. And I'm very I really feel that the movies should work as hard as they possibly can to protect spoilers. I think, I don't think One More Day, whatever the last Spider-Man movie was, that certainly didn't test because, everybody was wondering up until actually it released whether or not Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield were in it. And I think, to me, Sony is the best in terms of how they handled No Way Home. Thank you. And how they handled that situation. I think they actually handled it brilliantly. So I feel like they need to, I think I wouldn't have tested the movie, but they did. And I think they're really nervous. And I think they have every right to be nervous, particularly with how this test screening went. So I don't want to get in trouble. But this is really good. So let's just say that I think that Marvel not only is having a problem in terms of quality, thank you, cool guy, but I think that they're having a problem. I think they've lost a lot of respect. And I think I think now they're starting to get treated much the way Star Wars and DC are treated. Whereas, before people were like, give Marvel the benefit of the doubt. I think Marvel has finally pushed its fans far enough where now their fans are angry as well.
Yeah.
And I think that you're not going to see the same respectfulness that you did before. Now, the evidence I have to this is that I heard that the people who saw the screening they didn't hate it, to be clear, but they didn't love it. And apparently, from what I heard, I wasn't there, but from what I heard from a source that I trust, they were pretty vocal at the test screening. And I asked, by the way, just to be clear, I asked another person about this and they said they didn't hear this. So I'm just telling you that it could go either way.
Pause it.
But I trust my source.
All right. For context, this may be the same source or may not be the same source that said Pedro Pascal had walked off the set of The Mandalorian and was not returning, right?
Yes.
I want to make sure. Also, for context and hearsay, Grace runs with a very specific part of the internet and internet chatter and banter, a little echo chamber of inclusivity and all things like that.
Yes.
So let me just say a few things about why people she runs with might not like the movie. Let's just say they would have the adverse effect to this movie that didn't represent their values. They're on the other side of the table from Geeks and Gamers, right?
Right.
So let's say this movie turns out to be a classic family Christmas type of movie where the only representation in it is that a baby is being born from a woman's womb, right?
Right.
because of a man.
Because of a heterosexual relationship.
Right. This could very well, I'm not saying it is, but it could very well be one of the complaints that there was not enough representation in this movie. Right. And I'm consistent, Mantis. I'll give the right side of the table the work too on the microphone, but it just dawned on me. I'm listening to a woman who said Silver Surfer doesn't have any fans. And if he does,
right,
where are
yeah, that is actually, to be honest, out of everything she has ever said, that is one of the most wild things she's ever said. So I think he might be like the third or fourth most popular character. If you go to like a young man who read comic books in the 90s and early 2000s, a lot of them say Silver Surfer is my favorite.
Yeah, he is the Green Lantern of Marvel, but less jokes, right?
And so, I mean, she also did say, and this is to a lesser extent, she said the Fantastic Four were never popular and never stuck. And so that's not true either.
Now, I have to go back and look. Is she referring to comic sales, or because they are has the comic been rebooted, or has it been canceled and restarted?
Well, I mean, every at this point, all the comics have been, but I'm saying they were super popular in the 60s and 70s. And trust me, when we collected comic books in the 90s, they weren't unpopular.
Yeah,
I was always reading comic books with them.
No one could survive the vortex of X-Men, not even your beloved Justice League. All right, the 90s were ruled by mutants.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, if you were to compare them like that, yes, by definition.
Yeah.
But then again, nobody was. Like the Avengers weren't popular then.
No,
Fan 4 wasn't. I mean, heck, Spider-Man was fairly popular compared to the X-Men.
He was popular, and then it was like his books, because of Brand New Day, another story. You know what I'm talking about. Shit went left. But I'm just saying, for context, I just want to give people a full view of the person speaking on the mic right now. Grace is not what you call a what is the word I'm looking for? She's not a non-biased opinion peacemaker, right? She has agendas. There are political leanings that she leans toward, just like Geeks and Gamers. She's just on the left side of the table. So you don't know if she says if something's bad, if it's because it didn't hit certain social cues for her. So I just want to throw that out there.
I think that that is a incredibly well done and well spoken observation that I was not going to make. And so it wasn't my thought to challenge the source, but you are correct. She has a history of letting her politics be her guide. And so thank you for reminding us.
And her sources, these people who could very well be the popcorn distributor at the movie.
He's gotten some stuff seriously wrong. I forget what Marvel movie it was. It was a big one, but she had said the plot was basically X, Y, and Z. And when it came out, it was not even close to that.
Yeah. And don't forget, she's James Gunn's favorite kicking bag. If everything goes wrong with Superman, he's coming after her first.
He makes it easy for herself. She's saying she's claiming there was a vocal reaction, meaning people were booing it.
Yeah.
And I heard that, let's just say any executives who were at the test screening didn't need to look at the comment cards to find out that the audience thought the movie was medium. Let's just put it that way. Okay. And so it's a lot funnier if I could just tell you the story, but I don't, again, I just,
sure,
covering my bases here.
She doesn't want to get caught telling fake leaks again.
That to me, I thought was very interesting. Nobody was booing because I said they didn't hate it. They didn't hate it.
What is the vocal noise?
I want to be very clear. Nobody booed Fantastic Four, but they might have shouted out, mid. Okay.
That is a claim. That is a boo.
Two people said it.
That is the modern boo. That's a Gen X or
audience
a Gen Z
erupted, but one or two people might have said it, and then maybe someone might have heard it. All right, so that's kind of like what everybody. That's the rumor. It's a rumor. Okay, it's a rumor. But I thought that was. I've never even heard that happening at a Star Wars or a DC screening.
Mid.
So I think 3 movies in a row is a little
like
bit
your YouTube channel, Grace.
All right, so then there was something else interesting. Now, as you might have heard, or as you're seeing,
there we go. Here's the meat.
Marvel is getting really powerful characters. Wanda, Sentry, and these are characters who have power sets that are not only really substantial, where you get to the point where you get nervous that perhaps the characters might be overpowered. But I think their powers are hard to describe. They're almost like writing tricks, or like whatever the writer needs them to be able to do. So you get a little, I think they have to, so far, I think we've been very happy. And actually these characters are quite similar, but I think I don't understand why there's so many of them. I'm going to talk, Wanda gets her whole own section, as you can see.
Oh, we're
so
not
I'm getting a
listening
little
to that
nervous
entire
about
thing.
Wanda. So let's just say Franklin is going to not only join this group, but surpass both these individuals.
He's got to be. That's Franklin.
I don't believe that Franklin has ever done what he will be asked to do in this movie. I looked it up.
No.
And apparently he theoretically could do it.
Okay. So wait, hold on. Whatever she's yapping about, she's wrong.
She's a yapper.
He has created universes before. He has brought dead universes back to life. And in the future, he's the powerful being, and Galactus is his herald.
Yes, they're at the end of time with each other. That's gotten retcon now with Marvel's whole Marvel gods or whatever. But yeah, I thought that was always cool at the end of time that it's friggin' Franklin.
And so the whole thing is whatever she's saying right now, she's claiming he's never done anything like that. He's done everything. There's nothing he hasn't done.
Bro, at the end of Hickman's run, that picture she's referencing there, that's him recreating the multiverse with his dad with the help of the Beyonder.
Right, yeah.
Of a molecule man. Bro, we're talking about when older Franklin came to the past and absorbed the powers of younger Franklin. That's that famous scene where he's like, "To me, my Galactus." That is one of the most iconic moments in comic history.
But she cannot say that there's, Franklin Richards does something that he can't do in the Marvel universe, because there's nothing he can't do.
Yo, can I say something completely off base without any merit, that has no validity in fact and is purely opinion and is 100% satire?
Please do. That's what the show thrives on,
bro. She looks like and sounds like and presents like the type of comic book character, or not a comic book character, type of person that wishes the comic book from Chase and Amy was real and that she could buy it on a weekly basis. And if you don't get that, that's a deep, deep burn. Like she's
oh my god.
like either comic, right? Like she strikes me as the type of person that uses these words at comic conventions. Indie. Independent, wildly Indian independent. Like, she does not. Anyway, move.
Yeah.
So because I was like, is this a new power set? And so I was looking it up, and I was like, oh, it seems that he could technically do it, but he never has done it before, right? So
I already know she's wrong.
What he does. But I don't understand why there are 3 of these. And they're in such quick succession. Like, they don't even give any of them a chance.
And she's trying to say that they didn't give each one of them a chance to cook. Wanda has had plenty. She had a 9-episode limited series, and then she co-starred in a movie,
which was basically about her.
Yes, which was where she was like the real star of it. And so, meanwhile, Hawkeye had to share his show with like a newbie and a young girl at that. And so, I would say Wanda's got more screen time than everyone.
She's been in multiple Avengers movies, right? Had a decent arc in the most popular, arguably Avengers movie, Infinity War. Depending on where you land on that, some people say Infinity War, some people say Endgame. She had a huge role in Infinity War, man. Grace. Wait, can I ask you a question? Do you remember I sent you dark-haired version of Grace, like evil Grace?
Yes. You know what's funny? When I make comments on dark-haired version of Grace, she has been known to write back. And I've had conversations with her on Instagram.
Yeah, I saw you commented on one of her things, and I was like, oh, I wonder if she's going to respond. I never went back to find out. Did she? So she did.
We had a back and forth. If it's the one I'm thinking of, yeah.
Nice. How did she come across in that back and forth?
Competent, intelligent, all the things a certain YouTuber is not.
I mean, Yo, Rico says no offense, but she sounds exactly like Jennifer Aniston. That is a good shot, Rico. That's
That is a
shot.
really good shot. Go, well played, Rico. Let's see, because I want to get her to the MCU. Because here's what I'm saying: I believe that her complaints about Sentry and Franklin is she's pissed that they're. She feels like they're taking away from Wanda because So Grace Randolph's mind is so infantile that she believes the more powerful the character, the better they are.
Yeah.
And that's what she believes. Like, she's like, Captain Marvel doesn't need writing. She's powerful. And it's a deranged type of thinking that an infant, like a 5-year-old, has when they read a comic.
It's Paw Patrol. Clearly they're the most powerful people in the universe. All right, let's see.
Well, let's see.
It's to breathe. And they are already moving on to the next one. So to me, that's weird. Oh, Mike, if you don't know who Franklin is, this is Sue Storm and Reed Richards' son. And he is, of course, he actually is technically supposed to be a mutant. I mean, we'll see if they continue with that. But he's a Nexus being. And so I'm curious to see how this goes over with audiences. To have somebody so powerful.
I remember what it was. She famously got into a fight with Kathy Yan. Kathy Yan being the director of Birds of Prey. Why? Because she said all these things were going to happen in the Birds of Prey, and it didn't happen. And that was even before James Gunn. Kathy Yan addressed it on Twitter.
Right.
She said some YouTuber is lying, this, that, and she said there was some sort of gay plot with the Black Mask. And Kathy Ann is like, I have never written that. That was never a thing. No way.
That's what I'm talking about. There's a bias.
And then also, Grace, her first beef with Gunn was not Gunn attacking her. He was retaliating. You see, originally, she lied and said at the end of... She said Bane would be at the end of Suicide Squad.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember that.
And he had to chime in. He's like, no, that is not true. That is not a thing. And she tried to argue, yes, it was. Like that he's lying, that he took it out of the movie to spite her.
You know who else gets into weird arguments with people about the things they're working on? Your boy from Nerd Theory or whatever that guy's name is. The other one.
Star Wars Theory or Den of Nerds?
Den of Nerds. That
Den
guy.
of Nerds is a weirdo. I think he's a weird dude. I don't vouch for him.
You're like, he's not my boy.
He's a boy. He's not my boy.
I don't know who brought him to the party. All right, let's see the sheet.
I don't know how he got here.
I'm nervous. And that's right. That's right. Some of you were mentioning Gaia, like she just disappeared. Thank goodness. But I mean, it's just, I don't know. I think I'm not sure how it is to have characters.
Secret Invasion.
Riley, I think that Franklin's power set, as most people are familiar with it, is that he creates reality. He's basically, what Wanda did in WandaVision. That's what Franklin can do. And Franklin can create whole universes. And that's the reasoning that everybody's always thought that why Galactus would want him, because he could keep Galactus fed, because he can just create universes and worlds for Galactus.
See, she's doubting it, but this is comic accurate.
But yeah, I mean, I'm curious as to what's going to happen here. So I heard that you're going to not only see Franklin use his powers, but you're going to see Franklin use his powers in a way he never has before, but theoretically could. All right, so that's the Franklin team. Then I'm very worried about the MCU situation. That's, a lot of us don't like that term, which has really taken, it's a very effective term. It is really.
Yeah, so basically I will say this, that we have to remember that I actually believe that Fantastic Four will be the last of the woke movies in Marvel. That I think they had already wrote these movies, they were already in production when they decided to turn around and be like, we need to stop this woke agenda, we need to chill right now. And yeah, I think you probably heard the rumors that like Invisible Woman is the leader and not
Reed
Richards.
Yeah.
So okay.
I mean, in the comics, I don't know if it started in Hickman's run, I want to say it was previous to that. Like, she definitely started off as a Lois Lane, save me type of character with powers, right? And she contributed, but like then as time went on, Sue became somewhat a force to reckon with in Fantastic Four. You know, like, and you enjoyed reading it. And it's like, her having to deal with Reed's constant blundering and like, well, not his blunders aren't like him just dropping milk on the floor. Like, the guy made a whole portal, joined up with some other versions of himself, and started a bunch of BS. Right? Like, it's crazy. He joined the Illuminati, so she has to worry about her husband doing dumb stuff all the time. I can't remember a moment when she was the leader of the Fantastic Four. There was a time during the Time Runs Out saga, if I have it correct, where she was helping Captain America hunt down the Illuminati, but she was really a spy for the Illuminati. So, it's that type of stuff. But who is the they, the us that Grace is describing? I wonder in this regard to not liking the MCU statements. D-Love, welcome in.
D-Love, what up? Holla at ya, boy. Okay, so let's let it
taken hold. And I do think that there are some instances, where Marvel has leaned into it to such a degree that, it's hard not to use that as a description when you're like, but, like, what do you want from me, man?
Why have a female Silver Surfer?
Like, if it was better balanced, you wouldn't be able to use that. So I don't like the term, but I don't like the fact that Marvel continues to give certain groups the ability to use it. Like, I would think at this point that Marvel would be able to get out ahead of things and understand when they were going to run smack into the MCU allegation. And I was quite surprised to learn from this test screening. And, I don't know, they could change things. I don't think it's too late to change anything. I mean, it would be very late for last minute reshoots. Okay.
Yeah.
However, someone just sent me 23 text messages and I was like, oh my God, but they're just sending me pictures. I got really nervous. I was like, oh, do I need to stop the stream?
Okay, Grace.
It's pictures.
Get on with it.
Okay. All right. So how do I want to phrase this? Even though it's a team of one woman and 3 guys, I think that if you're going to have a situation at the end of the movie where it's women who save the day.
Her and Silver Surfer
and you're like,
team up.
Why?
Okay.
Why? Can't Reed at least be involved? You're like, come on, man. Like, come on.
Let me ask you, did you ever read in the 1960s original appearance, 3 issues where Galactus and the Silver Surfer show up?
No, I've never read it.
So the way he's able to defeat Galactus is Reed convinces the Silver Surfer to accept their humanity, right, and he steals the ultimate nullifier and gives it to Reed. And then Reed is able to threaten Galactus. He's like, I have the ultimate nullifier. I'll destroy you. You have to go away. So if they are giving this plot point to her for no reason, because it really should be Reed's. It sounds like if she's saying where women save the day, it sounds like they might give that plot point to Invisible Woman.
Yeah, here's the thing about this whole thing, man. And I get what you're saying, brother. I get it. This could have all been easily avoidable. Grace did say something reasonable there, or at least I think she was saying something reasonable. I don't know sometimes, where this should be a team effort and it should have just been Reed Richards. And this is why it doesn't lead towards the patriarchy, right? And I told you about the interaction I had with someone at work when they were like, sometimes you just got to change stuff up. Well, yeah, you do got to change some stuff up. Not this time, though. Right?
not arbitrarily. You don't say like Cyclops is the leader and they're like, you know what? Why don't we make it Nightcrawler today? That doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense. But I'm worried about this movie only in the sense, and I think I said this from the beginning. I feel like it's gonna be really family oriented. So I'm not going in expecting a ton of action. I'm surprised this is not coming out during Christmas. Doesn't this movie scream Christmas to you for some reason?
Like, absolutely, I agree. I absolutely agree. Although I'm really glad that it's coming out during the summer. I think it's coming out during the summer because Marvel has less movies.
Yeah,
because they had to pull back. They had to pull back on their production.
Absolutely, and I mean
they're flopping too hard.
and it's got to compete against officially the new DC studios, right? Superman comes out, and I think there's a movie about dinosaurs that will also be premiering in July as well.
Also, the Smurfs starring Rihanna. I said Rihanna. Rihanna, Smurfette, and then those are the important ones.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna go see this, right? We're gonna go.
I'm definitely gonna go see this.
This is an opening day type of situation where we'll do the whole thing, the kit and caboodle, and I'm hoping that we have a good time. I'm going to give this movie a lot of grace. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I'm going in not with low expectations, but I've read comic books most of my life, and I know the Fantastic Four, and I know what I'm walking into, right? It's not like when I walked into that first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire. I was like, why did I let these fools convince me that this was going to be anything other than a Spider-Man movie? I really thought I was in for something. Just like I thought, a bunch of web-slinging shenanigans the entire friggin' movie.
In terms of times that superheroes should have showed up, I'll say this. Back in the day, in Fantastic Four Part 2, Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
There's a rooftop scene where Reed and Sue are getting married.
Yeah.
And that would have been the perfect time for both Daredevil and Spider-Man to swing over.
Yeah.
And drop in and stop in. They could have even had the X-Men show up.
Yeah.
In like suits and stuff, and suits and dresses. I remember actually Storm is like very good friends with Invisible Woman.
Yes, she is.
And so that would have been perfect time back in the day. Missed opportunity.
Totally missed opportunity. Can't wait to see this. Oh, we go ahead
before you go any further? I don't want to hear about her Wanda thing, but I do. You see at the bottom of our list right there, it says Doom tease. I would like to hear about that.
Okay.
Would you like to hear about that?
Sure. Big spoilers. I do think this woman was a great pick. Might be the first best pick for Sue Richards, though. I got to be honest with you.
Yes, I agreed. I agree. You know what? They've all warmed up to me. Some people are like, Johnny's not a playboy. I can get over that. He looks like a fine Johnny Storm. But let's see. Wanda. I'm obsessed with Wanda. Okay, let's see what she is.
Now, are we going to get a Doom tease? I think that technically you won't be disappointed, but I can't see myself. I think every single YouTuber is going to make a Doomsday video, after Fantastic Four comes out. But I don't think that, let's just say I don't think there'll be something to talk about too much in a video from the Fantastic Four movie. So that's kind of like what's going to happen.
It's funny. She didn't see it, but she's acting like
we'll see how this goes over. But that's, a lot of information, as you can see, came out from the test screening. And so we'll see what they, we'll see how it goes over with the general public.
A lot of information didn't come out from the test screening. All I've heard is a bunch of, high pitched sound.
That is the funniest imitation of her, and it's spot on.
So she's casting a spell on you. You roll 6, Grace hits you with a
her sonic scream.
Rico says, I bet Mantis could do a dope impression of Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. Are you pumped up for that movie?
So I've heard nothing but bad things. I love the original. Big fan of the original. But from what some of the things were so egregious that I heard the changes to it that either they have to be lies that the YouTuber said, or I can't see it. What about you?
I'm not, the remakes,
the remakes, man. Apparently they changed some major stuff from that original story. And apparently, supposedly, Stitch doesn't have a lot of screen time.
That's Not good.
Like they couldn't afford his digital ass.
I mean, that is as much as I think, that little girl Lilo is adorable. We didn't go see the movie for her, right? It was her and the shenanigans of her blue alien looking dog. Canada is in full scale revolt right now, apparently, or something. People
are they?
Yeah, I don't know. Rico, you live in Canada, right? So apparently, let me pull it up. I'll share my screen here, and Rico, you can tell us how true this is because we're Americans, right? On YouTube, if it's there and it's got more than one view, I'm saying it's fact. I
so none of my videos. Rico says about the Lilo and Stitch situation, that's effed up. Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, it's typical Disney shenanigans. Let me see if I can get this. Oh, look, someone in Telegram wants to give me a job.
Don't you love that? Like I'm blocking like 4 or 5 people a day at this point.
All right,
I love it when they send a voice message.
Oh, it's
their English is all messed up,
and their name is Dave. I'm like, you don't sound like a Dave.
Right, their name is Dave, but their picture is like a hot Asian girl. You're like, what's... and like, can you stick to just one lie? Just organize your thoughts, buddy.
Alberta just officially announced.
I have heard of this.
Sovereignty within a united Canada. We want to be able to have Alberta sovereignty within a united Canada. But we also would like to see Team Canada be on Team Alberta for once.
Alberta, a province that's long felt ignored and underappreciated, just made a shocking move. It's officially announced its intent to separate from Canada.
Look how big it is.
37% of Albertans already supporting independence, and that number is set to soar. The frustration with Ottawa has reached its boiling point. Could this really be the end of Canada as we know it?
A recent poll found about 25% of Albertans support the idea of separatism.
The growing support for Alberta's separation from Canada is not just a passing political trend, it's a movement gaining real momentum. Recent data shows that 37% of Albertans are now in favor of independence. That's not a small number. It's a clear sign that something significant is shifting in the province. More and more people are beginning to feel that the federal government, especially under the current Liberal leadership, has taken Alberta for granted for far too long.
Hundreds gathered on the steps of the Alberta legislature today for a rally calling for Alberta to separate from Canada.
We wish to be in charge as Albertans of our own nation.
Now, one of the key driving forces behind this surge in support is the Alberta Prosperity
Who the
Project.
F is Alberta?
This grassroots organization has already gathered over 66,000 members, each one passionate about pushing for change. It's not just a group of disillusioned individuals airing their frustrations or grievances online. Everyday Albertans, farmers, business owners, lawyers, and professionals who are actively organizing, rallying support, and collecting signatures to make their voices heard.
Signatures.
It's clear that the move.
There's one thing that an evil regime really hates.
It's signatures. Worse than protesters. This is this is nothing. So this will probably re-spark Quebec's desire, because Quebec, the province, has always wanted to not be a part of Canada, and that's the province where the majority speaks French.
Yeah.
And so if these guys, we might not even have a Canada. We might have just broken up provinces.
Now's the time to invade. We invade now, Rico. You hear me, Rico? We're coming.
Am I right?
Oh, I don't know if I glitched out or if we both did, but I heard everything. I didn't hear anything after Quebec.
Well, I'm saying that if we might not have a unified Canada, we might just have broken up little provinces, which are easier for us to conquer.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. Now's the time. Rico, get ready to start speaking American. Hamburger, cheeseburger. Neither of those things originate in America, but we made it better. Freedom fries, right?
Yo, one of those women, if you notice, one of the signs back there said, we're either the first or the 51st, implying they join America. Now, I don't know if that's that one woman sign or that's an actual thought that they're having.
That's amazing.
I love it.
I got to jump to something because it's like, I know how much you love this guy, but I just seen David Pakman 5 hours ago. I'm preparing to leave the country. Is he Canadian or is he American? Because either way it goes, this is going to be fun.
I don't know him.
Oh, this guy.
I need to talk to you about something that I know is going to trigger strong reactions from people in my audience. My only request is that you hear me out first.
Wrong.
Okay. The title of this segment is I'm preparing to leave the country. And before you start typing angry comments about how I'm abandoning the United States or whatever, I want to be crystal clear. I am not actively planning to leave the United States at this moment. I'm not packing bags. I haven't bought a one-way ticket anywhere for my family. What I'm doing is I'm preparing to leave the country should the need arise. And as I've said to people when they call in, if we all leave, we lose the fight by default. But I will never tell someone, don't do what's best for your family. And so this is a form of prepping in a way. It's contingency planning. So let me kind of walk you through what I've been doing over the last few months.
No, you don't.
Because
my
honestly,
friends, this is a great time to be.
So how, did you have fun tonight?
I did have fun. This guy pops up. What is this? The real guy? Is this him? Is this that person that they made fun of in She-Hulk?
Yes, this is the guy that they mimicked from She-Hulk. I believe I actually think he's nerdrotic.
You think so?
Yeah, I think nerdrotic does this thing because the way he talks, he sounds like nerdrotic. And so I think nerdrotic made him so that this fake YouTuber so that he could just diss people with no regard to human decency.
See, this is what I'm talking about, man. I can't say it with your chest. I enjoy parody and jokes as much as everyone else, man, but just say it with your chest, bro. But yeah, I had a great time tonight, man. As usual, you folks know where to find me. Sundays and Tuesdays, Mic Check. New to me Tuesdays, Mic Check Proper on Sundays, both at 10 p.m. BrizRadio.com.
Yeah, and you can always catch me Saturday and Sunday at 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Burn Your Degree. Also at RizRadio.com or Live 365 or wherever digital radio is found. This is the Fanboy Modeling School. I had a blast. Did you have a blast?
I had a great time. My ADD started kicking in. Mantis cut me short. He was like, oh, this was about to start clicking videos.
It was going off the deep end, but I love you, brother. Okay, time to go. Until next time, ciao for now.
Peace.